It's time for a living wage.
Let me see your tongue.
Time for a living wage. Blue tongue, blue tongue.
Let me see your tongue.
Yes, it is time.
Oh, it's so hot.
Yeah, go ahead and do the donation. Let's go in for
Huele una margarita, una rosa y un clavel. Prueba un poco de todo, lo que sea placer. Para gozar lo rico, tienes que conocer.
Damn, it's hot.
Para lo que sea que encontremos.
It's all right, no problem.
What then? No health insurance, no food program? Well, too bad for you. But at least those training programs can still reap profits, keeping you trained. Look out. Here comes the yuppie businessman to take you out of the game. He seems more than happy to keep you employed in this poverty wage game. And around they go. Where they'll sleep, nobody knows. Uh-oh. Tough luck. You'll just have to take your chances elsewhere. You can thank the Ellis Act for leaving you without a home. The Ellis Act is a state act which lets landlords remove their entire building from the rental market, evicting all their tenants in one fell swoop. Here we see just one, perhaps 30 people who used to live in that apartment building. Looks like you just lost your home of 20 years due to the Ellis Act. Too bad for you. Congratulations, though, to everyone else. You can remain in your place for now. And around they go, where they'll work nobody knows. Oh! Thanks for playing. Better luck next time. There is no living wage job for you because your millions of public funds are siphoned off to big business. This corporate welfare needs much more public oversight. It includes sole source contracts, land giveaways, special city services, and tax breaks. But tough break for you. Here comes the corporate welfare king, the CEO of Pigs Incorporated, to take you out of the game. And around they go. Where they'll sleep, nobody knows. Oh, sorry is correct. You're really out of luck today. You're out of the street. You lost your beautiful one bedroom due to an over-movement eviction. That's what happens when a building owner decides that they or a relative will move into the unit that they were previously renting out, thereby evicting the tenant. That's one less rental unit on the market and one more renter who is, well, out of luck. And around they go, where the word no, no. Oh, what's the matter with you? Can't you find a way to take care of yourself and your family on minimum wage? Guess you're just lazy. Hey, don't you know the economy depends on cheap labor? What a plan. Get people off public assistance and into low-wage jobs. The hourly wage of the average San Francisco receiving CalWorks benefit is $6.60 an hour. So can't you live on that? Watch out. Here comes the corporate welfare king and his pal, the yuppie boss, to escort you off.
AB, you stayed in the wrong place.
I got a wage. You got a higher wage.
You just got a raise. Thanks for organizing. And around they go, where they sleep nobody knows. Oh, no. Another opportunity for affordable housing thwarted. There's construction happening all over this town, but are they building affordable housing units? No. Drive through the Mission, for example, and what do you see? New constructions on all sides. But what kind of housing is it? The dreaded live-work units intended for rich yuppies, pricing low-income tenants out of the housing market for good, and increasing property values, changing the face of our city. Watch out, here comes the real estate developer. One more chance. One more.
It's only one chair.
And around they go, where the word nobody knows. Yet again, we all know the story by now. It's become dreadfully familiar. You can't afford to live in San Francisco. We're fighting for a living wage, but even that's not really enough to live in San Francisco. How about a housing wage? Do you know you need to make at least $22.44 per hour to afford the typical two-bedroom apartment in the city? At minimum wage, you would have to work 156 hours a week to afford that apartment. Well, tough luck. you're out of the game. Congratulations, you've beaten the odds in the harrowing game of living wage jeopardy. You get to remain in San Francisco, safe and sound with a job that pays at least a living wage, free from the threat of welfare reform, corporate welfare, OMI, Ellis Act, vacancy decontrol, live workspaces, for now, at least today. But really, to make this a reality for San Francisco, we have to work together to make some big changes. A strong city ordinance for living wage will be a good start. Now's our chance to try to make this happen. Participate in the Living Wage Coalition and help plan a strategy. Well, that ends today's game of Living Wage Jeopardy. Thank you all for playing.
Okay, just 1 minute. I appreciate everyone's patience. We're just waiting for Supervisor Amiano, and we will get started. We should all feel proud to be part of this Living Wage Congress. This is a historic day here in San Francisco, because what we are doing here today is getting together to think about how we can more effectively and more powerfully demand what should be happening now, which is that city and county employees should be earning a livable wage. Yeah. We are demanding this, among other things, because no one who wants to live in San Francisco should have to move out, am I right? No one should have to be fearful of moving on to homelessness if they don't get their next paycheck, am I right? So part of the reason we are convened here today as part of this Congress is we need to brainstorm. We need to put our ideas together. We need to ask questions like, how do we build our campaign? How do we bring in more working people into the campaign? How do we make sure that we win this campaign? Am I right? Okay, I sense still a little low energy. I can't hear you out there, so I need to hear you clapping. Am I right? Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, our first speaker, I am very, very honored to introduce the Director of Power works with low-income workers, organizing low-income workers. Please welcome Steve Williams.
How's everybody doing today? Good. Well, I was asked to come up here and speak about the history. See, the power in this room is so incredible that it's taken over the microphone. I was asked to come up here today to talk about the history of the Living Wage Coalition in San Francisco. Now, there are a few people who would say, when talking about the living wage fight in San Francisco, that it just started a few months ago when 50 community organizations came together to say that every worker who works for a boss who gets a public subsidy in the city and county of San Francisco should receive a living wage. There are a few people who would say that. But we all know that that's in fact not the case. We know that the fight for living wages goes back in this city at least until 1934, when working people shut down the city of San Francisco because bosses were not treating the workers in the way that they should be treated. Now, those same people who misguidedly would tell you that the living wage fight is a new fight in San Francisco are the same people now who are saying that the living wage, well, it may be a good idea, but it's just too expensive, right? Your daily newspaper, the San Francisco Examiner, had a headline saying that the living wage ordinance was going to cost $250 million.
Misguided.
Misguided. Now we would love to spend $250 million, but you know, we've got mortgages to pay on our properties up in Pacific Heights. Well, most of us actually don't live in Pacific Heights. It would actually be up in Marin or up in Napa. We'd like to give you the $250 million, but instead, you know, we've got to pay for our Mercedes. We've got to pay for our SUV vans. We've got to pay for all of the buildings that we've been buying up in San Francisco in low-income neighborhoods and creating live workspaces for our artist friends to be able to come over and gentrify our neighborhoods. Now, those same people were saying that $250 million is too much for working people. Don't understand that the most of us, the people in this room, actually understand that we, low and no wage workers, are the people who created that $250 million. That's our $250 million. That's not their $250 million. Now, there's a few people in the city and county of San Francisco who would say, well, maybe a living wage is a good idea, but only for a few workers. There's really only 10 or 12 real workers in San Francisco who deserve a living wage. You know, maybe we can talk about the people who are working in the ports, in the restaurants. Maybe we can talk about some of the corporations that are receiving public subsidies, but certainly, most certainly, we can't talk about the people who slave every day in the nonprofit organizations. Certainly, we're not going to talk about the workfare workers who clean the streets, who clean the buses, who clean the parks.
Talk about it!
Certainly, we're not going to talk about people who receive CalWorks benefits, who are raising the children of the next generation and doing that work on a day-to-day basis. We're not going to talk about those people, and we're not also going to talk about the in-home healthcare workers who provide some of the most vital services to sick and aged people in this city. We're not going to talk about those people because they're too expensive. That's what they would tell you. They're too expensive. Now, I know that nobody in this room believes that. I know that we all understand that the people who deserve a living wage are the people who live and work in this town. Every worker deserves a living wage. And it doesn't matter how expensive it is because it's our money. We're the ones who created wealth in this city, and we're the ones who deserve to get that wealth so that we can live decently in San Francisco. Now, how does that happen? Will it happen by us making clever arguments and being nice and polite? I'm sorry. How is that going to happen? Is that going to happen by us making clever arguments and being nice and polite to the people who are getting funded by the rich corporations? Is that how it happens? No. Does it happen simply because we sit back and we write letters to the editor saying, well, dear editor at the San Francisco Chronicle, we think you were mistaken. The numbers might be a little too exaggerated. Maybe it's a little less than $250 million. Is that how it's going to happen with just letters to the editor? No. I'm not even going to go further with that because I know that everyone knows here that the only way that we're going to win a living wage in San Francisco is by fighting. The only way that we win is by organizing. Now, when we organize, it is crucial for us to understand that there are forces in this city that are going to try to pit us against one another. As we go and talk to the Board of Supervisors, the progressive San Francisco Board of Supervisors, there are people who are going to say, well, you know, we're willing to give you a living wage, but we're not willing to give those people over there a living wage. Well, maybe we'll give you a living wage because you've been nice. You've been working real hard. But those folks over there, they've been loud and they've been dirty. And I don't know if you saw the article in the newspaper, but they're crazy, they're lazy, they're drug addicted, whatever else it is. Our strength as a living wage coalition comes in the fact that we are united. There are more There are more working people in San Francisco than there are our bosses. We have to take advantage of that strength. We have to figure out how it is that we make linkages across communities. We have to figure out how it is that we establish alliances with other progressive forces in San Francisco. Just one example. Just one example. The state of Pennsylvania is currently attempting to assassinate, murder Mumia Abu-Jamal. There's a judge who recently signed the death warrant for an activist simply because he was speaking the truth. He was speaking on behalf of poor, working people in Philadelphia and across the globe. It's our challenge to figure out ways that the Living Wage Coalition can establish linkages with the coalitions and the forces that are fighting for the liberation, not just of low-wage workers, but all oppressed people in San Francisco. Every day, our struggle has to be figuring out how it is that we can build off of the tradition and legacy of a strong labor movement in this country and in this city. And labor does not just mean the labor unions, which are affiliated with the AFL-CIO. Certainly they are doing fantastic, wonderful work organizing on behalf of working people in San Francisco. But there are thousands of unorganized workers who deserve to be protected by the living wage ordinance as much as any other working person in San Francisco. And in fact, I'll draw off of one of the slogans of an AFL-CIO union, the International Longshore and Warehouse Workers Union, when they say that an injury to one is an injury to all. We have to take that to heart and understand that all low-wage workers have to be protected by the Living Wage Ordinance, and we will fight to make sure that that happens.
Yeah.
Now, understanding that we have to fight and understanding that we have to organize, we also have to understand that we have to raise our voices to tell the truth, to speak truth to power. As people tell us that we need to sit down, be quiet, only talk about a legitimate grouping of workers, we have to constantly understand that our strength comes from being united. And it's important for us to be able to exercise that process of raising our voices. So, what I would do is ask everyone to stand up or get in what they consider to be their best singing position. And everyone should have received a song sheet. And if you didn't, please raise your hand, because Thabiti Hayes, who's an organizer with power, will walk around and give you a song sheet.
Yeah.
And in closing, what we're going to do is sing a song that has a long history with working people in this country. The railroads, as everyone knows, were built by low-income, hard-working folks, mostly Chinese immigrants who were brought over to this country for the express purpose of being able to create profits for bosses who ultimately didn't pay them a living wage. And so, in drawing off of the tradition of those hard-working Chinese Americans, we're going to sing a song, I've Been Working on the Railroad. But we've modified the lyrics a little bit to talk about the experience of all low and no wage workers in San Francisco today. And so, instead of I've been working on the railroad, we collectively have been working in the city. So does everybody have a song sheet? Okay. Now, what I want everyone to do and what I want everyone to understand is that when we at Power, people organized to win employment rights, when we sing, one of our key principles in singing is that good singing has nothing to do with staying on key. Good singing has everything to do with rattling the windows and rattling those people in power, making them feel uncomfortable and making them deal with the truth of the reality of low and no wage workers in this city. So, we're going to sing a little song, and I hope everyone is able to sing well. So, on 3. A 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2, 3. We've been working in the city. Okay, stop. Okay, so maybe everyone didn't understand the whole concept of organizing and showing those people who are making millions of dollars of profit our rage and our determination to win a living wage here in San Francisco. So we're going to try that over again, and what we're going to do this time is encourage people to really sing loudly. Now I understand that not everyone may have a song sheet, so if you don't have a song sheet, look over on your neighbor, because we're not necessarily operating off of principles of private property. Everyone can share, and everyone should share so that everyone can sing very, very loudly. Okay, so we're going to try this again, and this time I expect everyone to sing at the top of their lungs. And Tony Davidson here will demonstrate how to do that. So on 3. 1, 2, 3. We've been working in the city, sweating dust till dawn. We are all always workers and make the city run. But without our labor, we need Stone Age. But the still prophets, we can't promise wage. We want a living wage. We want a living wage to raise our families in dignity. We want a living wage. We want a living wage, and we want it promptly. All for sweat and labor, profits are on the rise. Boss is smoking stinky stogies and telling lots of lies. Can't you see us all struggling, holding back our rage? Bouncing, crying, fighting for a living wage. We want a living wage. We want a living wage to raise our families in dignity. We want a living wage. We want a living wage, and we want it promptly. Now we're all united. We're black, brown, yellow, and white. We got an organization, and we are ready to fight. If the bosses try to stop us, they can take the high. And they'll have to do their own work, 'cause we will go on strike. We want a living wage. We want a living wage to raise our families in dignity. We want a living wage. We want a living wage, and we want it promptly.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. I think what makes this Congress historic is that it affirms that we are relying on nobody but ourselves to win this campaign. Let's not forget that. So in that spirit, let me just remind everyone that we will have a few speakers speak for no more than 3 minutes. Just to put it all in context, we have some wonderful speakers, and then after that will be the most important part. That's when we all enter into a discussion to answer some of the questions that I mentioned earlier. How do we build our campaign more strongly? How do we involve more workers in our campaign? How do we inspire others to join us to do what's right here in San Francisco? So now, I'd like to introduce a true champion in the issue of the living wage and other issues here in San Francisco, and I might add, the person that I am writing in for mayor in the next election, Supervisor Tom Amiano.
A little bit of information. I like to get the Sunday paper on Saturday, because you know most of the things are written anyway, way in advance, no matter what the truth is. And the San Francisco Examiner has endorsed Willie Brown for mayor, and one of the reasons they said they endorsed him is because of his healthy skepticism about living wage. So I ask you. You know, we don't have any skepticism about living wage, and the only skepticism we might have is that it's really not enough. We know that if there aren't jobs out there, if there isn't economic equity, we know that living wage does not stand on its own 2 feet. But we knew that when we went into this, and we have been extremely tenacious about it. It's kind of a joke at the Board of Supervisors, because people always say, well, we believe in the concept of living wage. Well, you know, do you believe in the concept of not having enough food on your table? Do you believe in the concept of not having your kids having adequate medical care? Do you believe in the concept of mom and dad not having to work 3 and 4 jobs and not spending any time with their kids? Is that the concept that you believe in? Or is it the concept that Consuelo, who fixes your hair, doesn't need a living wage? Is it the concept that the people at the airport who are supposed to save your sorry ass when you get on that plane make $5.45 an hour and can't stay awake, much less recognize a gun in a suitcase? That's concept. I don't know what's going to happen at City Hall. I know that nothing is going to happen until after the election, and that's really too bad, because in the 2-year struggle that we have been involved in, people have suffered, people have died from inadequate medical care, people's kids have run away from home. It's not a fairy tale. It happens as I'm speaking. So, when it finally gets to the floor at City Hall, not the ceiling, but the floor, and it's watered down to some ridiculous amount, and the scope of what it covers, not the port, not the airport, not this, not that. Oh God, there's 25 workers that are now covered by living wage, which by the way now is $9 with no health benefits. When it comes to that point, if it comes to that point, then we have an option. And that option would be going to the ballot. And in the meantime, we're going to be having district elections in November. And no matter who the mayor is in January, a lot of those supervisors are going to be very concerned about getting reelected. And we have to make it clear to them that any attempts to water down and weaken living wage as it comes to the floor of the Board of Supervisors will not be tolerated, and they will not be reelected.
Our next speaker, I'm very pleased to introduce Ana Maria Loya, the Executive Director of La Raza Centro Legal, and someone who has come out strongly with the message that nonprofit workers must be included in the living wage ordinance. Ana Maria.
Well, my job is very brief today, in 3 minutes, and it's very easy. I'm going to tell you what our future mayor's living wage proposal looks like, Tom Aviana's living wage proposal looks like. And first of all, the reason that it's so obvious to me, makes such perfect sense that every nonprofit executive director, every person who owns a business in the city, whether or not they contract with the city, should be paying a living wage is because it's the right thing to do. People still matter over profits. Human dignity is something that makes this city what it needs to be. And so this city is a rich city, and we've gotten rich off the backs of poor people, and that's not right. So what the proposal would require, it's very simple, very basic. People who work on city contracts or people who work on city land should get at least $11 an hour plus benefits. Or the cash equivalent to those benefits. Very simple, very basic, and what's causing certain people to have little mild heart attacks, because even though they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, they can't imagine someone being paid $11 an hour. So therefore it also applies to businesses that lease city property, the port or the airport. And as Tom was saying, there are plenty of people that want to water it down, to eliminate those, to eliminate nonprofits, to eliminate this, to eliminate that. One of the studies, when we've heard a lot of different things about the cost of the living wage ordinance, is it going to cost $250 million, $300 million, $30 $32 million, or we're waiting to hear from some magical study that will really tell us. One of the studies says that it would cost $32 million, and that would be about 2.7% of the city's budget. That it would benefit about 13,200 employees or workers in the city, that it would benefit them directly. And that hopefully it would benefit others too, because if you work in an office or in a job or in some location in which some people have the right to make $11 an hour, it would make sense that everyone else should at least be making that much, if not more. So hopefully the benefits would be passed on to others. And we all know that you need more than $11 an hour to survive in this city.
We know this, we know this.
And we also know that this is something that is going to benefit tremendously women. So many working women working on city contracts are working for poverty wages, supporting families and supporting their children. We know that it's going to help people of color. We know that it's going to help poor people. This is something that we can easily unite on, because this is something that is right, this is something that respects human dignity, and this is something that will benefit all of us. At La Raza Centro Legal, working there, we see the direct benefits, and I'm sure all of us know about this, that we see the direct impact of what it is like for people who are not earning a living wage. What it is like to be stressed all the time, trying to make rent in this city, not being able to live in decent housing, being forced out of indecent housing into homelessness. The stress of having to work multiple jobs and still not making ends meet, having to actually pick which type of food that your kid is going to get to eat, when your kids know exactly when it is that the family can afford meat, when it is that the family can afford a certain kind of t-shirt, a certain kind of new pair of shoes. We know what that's like, when people actually have to make those real kinds of choices. What it's like when kids come home and there's no one there to help them with homework, there's no one there to meet with their school teacher, with the principal, because people are struggling and stressed just to barely survive the basic modes of survival. So this living wage is extremely important. And more than this living wage, this is a start, right? City workers will be covered. Hopefully, if we make enough noise and we put enough pressure on the people who are going to be making the decisions, as many people as possible will be covered, and it'll be a start. And then this will stretch and spread to others who are not covered by the ordinance. So in a mild little short synopsis, that's what we're hoping to pass, and that's what we're pressuring our supervisors to support.
Thank you, Ana Maria. Again, I want to remind you all, get those ideas flowing, get your comments ready, because once our speakers finish their brief talks, we do have a microphone up here, and we'll be asking people to come up and start making comments, and we'll start our strategies. I'm very proud to introduce the next person who makes it possible for elderly people and disabled people here in our city to live in their homes with dignity. Please help me welcome Hollis Holman, an IHSS home care worker.
Hello, it's good to see everyone here today. My name is Hollis Holman, and I'm a home care worker here in San Francisco. One very basic thing the living wage would mean to me would be the ability to pay my rent out of one paycheck rather than piecing it together from payday to payday. It would allow me the comfort of knowing if I wanted to have a steak, say once every 2 months, I wouldn't have to worry about that. Instead of waiting for the chicken to go on sale, hopefully, or the fatty hamburger meat to go on sale, I'd be able to eat decently. I'd be able to maybe move back to a city that I grew up in. I lived in San Francisco for 49 years. In 1998, I was finally forced to move because I simply could not afford to live here any longer. I could either pay my rent in full or buy a fast pass to get to work or walk. What we really need to understand, the living wage is vital to any low-wage worker within the city and county, within the Bay Area itself. We have to understand that we are basically in a war. We cannot allow the bosses and the powers that be to make us homeless or starve us to death. And if we don't work together as one unit, as one body, they'll win. We cannot allow this to happen. I'm a single person. I only have myself to worry about. I have no children. But those of you, I know how hard it is for me, and it's just me. So those of you that have children, you really need to understand that we really are in a war. And this is a war that we must win at all costs. Thank you.
Thank you, Hollis. You know, we've all heard the line that the people who are promoting literally sweeping homeless people off our streets because they scare the tourists who come to San Francisco are the same people who don't want to pay adequate wages to those workers who provide services to the tourists that arrive to San Francisco, such as the workers who work at Avis Rental Car. Please welcome Kent Gordon, an employee of Rent-A-Car. Avis Rent-A-Car.
Well, like most of what everybody says here, we just want the basics. Would it be nice just to be able to pick the doctor that you want, not one that's thrown at you? And when you, like for instance, I haven't got my teeth cleaned in about 2 or 3 years. That's $150. I can't afford. I'd like to go get my teeth cleaned. Just simple stuff like this. I'm not talking about going out and getting a Cadillac. I don't need a Cadillac. I just like to be able to buy a fast pass. See, wouldn't it be nice to buy a fast pass instead of doling out $1 every day? And I'm just talking about simple, small stuff. It's not like they say it's going to cost this, cost that. Well, when we get the paycheck, we're not going to hold it over here. I mean, we're not going to hold that money there and tie it up. We're going to go out and spend it. It's going to go to the store. We're going to pay taxes on that stuff. We're going to pay taxes on it just like everybody else. I mean, I tell you what, I'd like to have to pay $150, $200 in taxes. That means that check's pretty big, and I can have it. I get $200, $300 a week for taxes. Let them have it. I don't care. I would have a better apartment. And you know, it's like a day-to-day when you go to an apartment, and you've been going there for 15 years, and everything is small. Wouldn't it be nice to have, instead of a room or a studio, wouldn't it be nice to have a one-bedroom?
Come on, teach us.
My gosh, if I were a lotto, I'd have a bedroom as big as this room. I mean, wouldn't it nice just to have a decent-sized room, a bedroom, instead of that little bitty room and you got to go down the hall and take a shower? Have your own shower? Just simple stuff like that. That's what I would like, is just to have just the way you just get a decent bedroom. You get a decent one-bedroom apartment. Now, really, I mean, just say, for instance, a lady or a person has 2 children. That's 3 people. And they make $11 an hour. That's $22 grand a year. All right, now, if it's a woman, probably, or a guy, and they got those 2 children, they probably might get a $2,000 tax break, so they wind up about $20,000 a year. If you get a 1-bedroom, and you got an extra family, you know the extra family, when you got them $1,200 or in a bad apartment, you got an extra family you don't like. The cockroaches standing up on the highway for the rats. When you come in, you're late, where's dinner? You know, you got the extra family you don't want. So, with $11 an hour, you pay about $1,200 a month. That's about $14,000 a year. Bottom line is the person has $16 a day. You got to get food for the kids. You got to give the kids money for the bus. You got to take their clothes out, their medical. Everything is out of that $16 a day. I mean, 11's better than what I got now, but sure would be nice to have more. I got a chance to bring that to Georgia at the Knowing Valley Democratic Club. I told him that's $11. And he says, well, you know, that's unreasonable. I don't know where you get your figures. Well, the benefits, no, that's up to 16. Yeah, it should be more like $9.50. Well, $9.50 with the benefits, that ain't getting the apartment. It ain't getting the apartment.
Teach us.
I mean, you're barely getting it at $11, and he wants to go down to $9.50. I don't even think he wanted to talk about it. But it's not just going out and getting lavish stuff. And maybe like I had some Goodwill stuff. I wonder if these pretty nice clothes from Goodwill. I say they come out pretty good, but wouldn't it be nice going to the store and get brand new stuff at June?
Representing family rights and dignity, an organization that works with low-income women and families. Please help me welcome Jackie Henderson.
Good afternoon. I don't hear you. Today, history begins. Today, right now. I work at the Coalition on Homelessness, and the project I work at is called Family Rights and Dignity. I work for homeless families and families on CalWorks. I've been there almost 3 years, and I haven't seen many families come back to me and say that this system works. I am a single parent with 2 boys. I work at this job because I believe in what I'm doing. I'm also a student, and I can tell you, being 29 raising 2 young men is not easy. But I'm here, and I'm determined, and we all need to work together. When women come to me to ask me for a voucher for shelter, and that they ask me, do you have any place that I can go? Somewhere where I can put my family. I don't have underwear. I don't have food. Jackie, is this something that you can do? My answer is always no, because there's a waiting list. It's a lot of bureaucracy because you can't put your kids somewhere at night. What do you do when you go home in your nice place, wherever it is, but you have a family who has nowhere to go? You know, this city is too pretty for me every day to see a family not know where they're gonna sleep at night. They don't have no food.
Teach us.
You know, it's frightening. You know, I come here and I just see the attitude as if we're asleep. It's not me, so it doesn't bother me, but it bothers me. It should bother us. You know, I'm just sick of it. I'm really tired of it. I'm tired of the excuses. You know, and my kids ask me, Mom, why do you do this? Because it's gonna change. We're gonna make it change. And I hope everybody in this room will work to make it change. I'm tired of the lip service. It's time to get out there, make these politicians do what they promised us that they will do, and do it today. Do it right now. It should have been done yesterday, but it's time now. And I hope everybody in this room, when you sleep tonight, that you'll think about the women and their kids. It was like 3 weeks ago. A family came in with her husband, and a social worker took her kids away because she was chronically homeless. How do you, in your right mind, take a parent, take her kids away because she's homeless? She didn't ask to be homeless. You know, it's just a circumstance that she got in. That social worker's job when she was working on her degree was supposed to be working for the people. You know, she should have been out there. How can I get you shelter? How can I work with you? How can I, help you get to the next level? Can somebody help you? You know, it's time. It's time now.
Thank you, Jackie. And last but not least, here to inspire us is Anna Gao, also a home care worker, and with her, Leon Chow, who has graciously volunteered to serve as her interpreter. Let's give her a welcome.
Hello， 我係 Emma， 我係 Chinese， 我做呢個家庭護理做咗5年幾。咁咧去年咧，我哋為咗增加呢啲工資咧，我哋參加咗 Sacramento 嘅請願，又開咗好多聽證會。
Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm Chinese. I work as a home care worker for 5 years. For the last year, for our wage campaign, we go to different rallies. That's including going even to Sacramento.
我哋要爭取我哋家庭護理應有嘅權利。我哋除咗要求加工資以外，我哋要求有 sick day， 仲有係 holiday。因為我哋係一個人，有好多時都會病，但係我哋咧，即係一個人應有嘅權利都冇。
Besides asking for wages, we also asking for the workers' right, including days off, like sick days and holidays.
Yeah.
咁咧，我哋家庭護理工人咧，爭取我哋嘅權利，呢啲係大家嘅事，我哋做咗好多。咁而家呢啲工作咧，要大家嚟做，大家嚟支持，大家嚟團結。
As home care workers, last year we did a lot. We go to different rallies, we've done all this campaign, and living wage is for everyone right here. So we're asking everyone right here to join the campaign, go to rally, do everything.
因為我哋家庭護理嘅工人咧，啲工資咧係好低，而家三藩市咧啲租金咧又好貴。我哋除咗稅務以外咧，我哋嘅生活標準咧係比一個領福利金嘅老人嘅工資仲要低。
As a home care workers, we don't have enough hours, we don't make enough. Even like before tax or after tax, the average wage we get is even lower than the people receiving SSI.
咁樣咧，就我希望大家即係家庭護理嘅工人咧，即係都要團結起上嚟，爭取自己嘅權利。咁咧，我都付出咗好多。我今日星期六，我而家嚟開會，一陣間我4點半仲要上班。我好多時咧都係將自己嘅時間調咗嚟去參加我哋爭取我哋嘅權利。希望大家都要支持呢個行動。我講咁多啦。
See, at the home care workers, we have a hard work, and even for Saturday, I have to come out between 2 different shifts to come out. And the home care workers last year has done a lot for campaign for living wage. So we hope everyone right here in this room come out and participate and work for the living wage campaign in the future.
Right. And what I'd like to do, just because there isn't a lot of room over here, and just so that people can stay seated and you don't have to stand in line for a long time, why don't we do this? If you could please raise your hands, I will recognize you, and as I recognize you, if you could please come up and stand in line for the microphone. If I don't recognize you right away, it just means that we're stalling a little bit to let the space clear out a little bit. But we're going to try to allow everyone who wants to speak to get an opportunity to speak. For those of us who don't feel quite comfortable speaking in larger groups or in front of larger groups, I wanted to also remind you that we have workshops, smaller group workshops after our Congress, which will end at 4:30. Okay, so, we do have a few hands, please. Come on up.
Okay. Why don't we...
Brother, could you move just over a little bit?
Oh, I'm sorry. Why don't you come first?
You want me to come
Yes,
first?
go.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. I wanted to say that I really enjoyed hearing from everybody. My name is Tony, and I'm a member of Power, and we're big organized. And I want to say that one of the things that I really feel that is important for, as I sit and I listen to everyone, and I know about the workers at the airport, the moms, the taxi cab drivers, it's going back to our prospective communities and educating everyone on all of these workers. It's not. I have learned a lot being involved with Power about low and no wage workers. One of the things, and just to inform people a little bit on what's going on there, is one of the things, they say we're volunteers. Out of the thousands of people receiving the grant, I haven't been a volunteer yet. These are workers. These are people that are cleaning the streets. These are people that are out at the hospital. These are people that are cleaning the community buses. These are people that are working right alongside city workers. The Cal moms on CalWorks. These are people that are working. Last year, $30 million in revenues was saved by the city by the exploitation of these workers. So one of the things that I'm going to be mindful of from the information I got from other people is because I have information about workfare workers and low-income moms in the CalWorks. So I know a little bit about them. I would ask that people would share more information about what's going on with the seniors and the healthcare moms and the other moms, and that we share information and that we don't sell each other out or compromise each other in any way. And go forward with the living wage ordinance as it is. Thanks.
Hello, my name's Bruce Allison. I'm a home care worker 20 years. As my colleagues up there can say, some of us may have to do RN work, give injections and stuff, all for $9 an hour. We are not sitting alone, pushing a person in a wheelchair all the time. We're making their beds, cooking, cleaning, we bathe them, clean them, and then injection. I would like to get how many people here be willing to potty train the legislature and the board of supervisors, and especially His Holiness the Mayor, to teach them that you're supposed to do the right thing by giving $11 an hour.
Hi, my name is Tracy Faulkner, and I'm on CalWorks. I'm also a student at City College and at State. I also help out at the Family Resource Center at City College, and I'm in Power as well. And with all that, I'd say that with the living wage, of course we all should have a living wage. But being on CalWorks, I have to do 32 hours a week. And I get up at 6:30 in the morning, I get my daughter to school. By the time I pick her up at 6, we get home at 6:37, I'm exhausted. And I know I'm not alone. I'm not the only mother here who is on CalWorks who has to do way over what is, human beings are supposed to be able to do. Because on top of being a student and a worker, I have to also take care of my daughter alone. So I keep hearing, CalWorks are in, CalWorks are out, CalWorks are in, CalWorks are out. And we need to be united. This has got to be for everybody. It's got to be for everybody. be this as big a campaign as we want it to be, right? We have got to go out there to all the people who are working their butts off, day in and day out, with so little. We got to make it so that they know that all their hard work they're going to put in here is worth it. Okay?
Yeah.
All right? So, sorry.
All right.
Okay. So, I just want to remember that when we're strategizing, organizing around the living wage campaign, we got to think about how we're going to draw these people in. What are we going to say to them? What are we going to do to make sure that they know that this is going to really work for everybody? So remember that. We've got to be united. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Elvita Stewart, and I live in the Richmond district, and I'm a stenographer for a bank right now. And I was also, even though I live in the Richmond district, I have our landlord service with the Ellis Paper app and stuff like that. And then we're going through that, and we paid my bills off, and I'm still having a hard time. I have one credit card, and also I found out about the capital improvement for the landlords are trying to swing it over to make all the tenants pay for capital improvement. And I found out buildings built before 1979 are under no rent control. And also the realty market's too high, and everybody actually is supposed to be making $50,000 a year to live in the state of California. And California, Hawaii, and New York has the highest standard of living. And the state of California is second right now in the United States. And also, I hope they cut, the rent down. They cut the rent down, and they cut realty down, and they improve wages for the lower class and other people that are having a hard time buying things and doing things instead of just not being able to buy anything new. That I hope they cut the rent, and hope they don't swing over capital improvement, because if they swing over capital improvement for us to pay for improvements on apartments, and they might not be able to raise the rent. So I know everybody's having a hard time, and if I paid off all my bills and I only have one credit card and not everybody else is really having a hard time also. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Scott Eric. I'm with the Temporary Workers Coalition. I'm 25 years old. Since I was 18, I've been a temp. I've never had a regular job before. Everything I've done has been through an agency. And I guess what probably everyone's heard is the fact that temp agencies are now the #1 employer in the world. I'm working at Kaiser Permanente right now, and I have 3 bosses that I work for. I work for Kaiser. Adecco Temporary Service has the contract for all the temps at Kaiser. And then I'm contracted out through yet a 3rd temporary company, Access. Every single time it goes to one of those bureaucracies, they take more money out. So Kaiser Permanente is paying, $12, $15 an hour. And then the one company takes out $2 or $3 or $4 an hour out of that. And the other company takes out $2 or $3 or $4 an hour out of that. Every 6 months, they lay us off so they don't have to pay us benefits. We have no sick leave. We have no vacation time of any kind at all. No job security of any kind at all. I don't know exactly of all the different proposals if temp companies are even going to be included specifically in the living wage or not. Or if you're 2 or 3 levels through temp agencies down, whether one of those is going to be able to get it out of paying you a living wage. And I always wanted to make sure that temp workers and people who work for agencies are really specifically covered by this law. And if not this time, then next year, we're going to be covered by this law. I think everything that's going on here at the Living Wage Coalition is absolutely incredible. I'm glad I found out about it. And I hope that everyone here is in for the long haul until we all control our own jobs. And we all decide our own case. So we should vote ourselves in.
Any comments that include questions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down all the questions, and then we'll allow some time at the end, and perhaps some of our panelists might be able to answer those questions. So I take it up the question of are temp workers included in the current proposals?
Hi everybody, my name is Bill Schwab and I live in Mission. And I've been attending meetings against gentrification over at SEL the last couple of weeks. I had interviewed with an agency that works on employment, very good agency, where people care. And during the interview, I asked the Director of Employment Services, so how is the welfare, how is your agency's welfare to work activities going? And she said, I've got to be honest with you. You know, we're getting people into jobs, but these are jobs that are affecting the people that this whole living wage is about. She didn't say that, but she's saying people that are earning $6, $7, and $8 an hour in this city. And basically, she also said, eventually this whole welfare reform, you know, the shit is going to hit the fan because it's going to show up a couple of years down the line when people can't get any more educational benefits. They can't. They have to be working at these below subsistence jobs. And in San Francisco, we have things are better than they are in other parts of the state where they may not include things like going to school as part of the hours required. That's my understanding from about a year ago. I think there are a couple of things that I would like to see the Living Wage Campaign also get word out on, and one is the Earned Income Tax Credit for people that are working and they're not earning a whole lot, but there are federal tax credits that people can get for them. I think also that where there are benefits, there's something the PIC came out with on tax credits. This is something, the tax credits, what really pisses me off about a lot of the large employers, the GAPs, every other large employer that pays low wages, is they are siphoning off money through tax breaks, and they're putting small businesses out of commission, and they're the ones also controlling where their product is manufactured. A small business doesn't have that control. Getting small businesses to know what kind of credits they can get so that they can hire locally, so that they can benefit, so they're not run out of business by the high rents and everything else. This is great. Thank you for putting this together.
My name is Steve Seltzer, and I'm an operating engineer and a member of a new network which is formed called the Workers' Democracy Network. I just recently returned from Los Angeles, and I want everyone to know here that they did get a living wage ordinance in Los Angeles, the county of Los Angeles, and one of the ways that they did it is they marched through the airport week after week after week in Los Angeles. They said, look, you're going to do business, we're going to do business. We're going to let people know in Los Angeles that we mean business about a living wage. And of course, the bosses in Los Angeles and big business did not want thousands of people marching through the Los Angeles airport every day. We have to look at doing the same thing in San Francisco at the International Airport. Over 1,000 unorganized workers. The other thing that's happened in the Los Angeles area in Santa Monica, they passed a living wage ordinance of $11 an hour for all workers in Santa Monica. We need the same kind of ordinance in San Francisco. Every worker in San Francisco should have a basic living wage and better conditions. The last thing I want to say is that one of the problems, in my view, about the living wage campaign in San Francisco is big business in San Francisco controls the Democratic Party. Who is supporting Mayor Brown? The Committee on Jobs, that's Walter Shorenstein, the people who own San Francisco. We need a working class movement and a working class party that rests on working people and not big business. So that's what we're going to have to do to build up our working class movement. Thank you.
And I just wanted to say that about a week ago I got some information that was faxed to our office of the Coalition on Homelessness, and it described county the amount that people need to have a 2-bedroom apartment and be comfortable, to have food on their table, to buy diapers for their babies. And the dollar amount for San Francisco County was $22.44 as an hourly wage to be able to afford a 2-bedroom apartment and food on the table. So the $11 that we're asking for is only half of that. So that means we're still gonna have to work doubly hard, but we really need to impress on our friends, our families, our church members, our club goers, you know, wherever we are, we need to be talking about living wage because people are dying from starvation, they're dying from neglected health care, and there's too many poor people in this rich environment for us not to be concerned. So let's everybody tell your friends, tell your family, and let's get out there and get these living wage ordinances passed here in San Francisco. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Herb Gowdy. Let's see, I started speaking with the microphone thanks to my work with POWER, People Organized to Win Employment Rights. They're responsible for unleashing me upon an unsuspecting world. I've done work with the Coalition on Homelessness. I'm very proud of work I've done with Food Not Bombs. I'm currently a reporter and DJ with Liberation Radio. But the most important thing about me speaking out was that I was a workfare worker for 8 years. And as much as I respect Tom Amiano, Steve Williams, and other people who are in charge of these things being organized, they don't know what it's like to need a living wage. And I think it's terribly important that people who need a living wage lead this process and are in on the negotiations and decide what's done to get them through it.
Hello, my name's Howard Grayson. I'm with 250 and 240 MB. And I would like to really thank 240 for what they had done for us.
Just a little bit closer to the mic so you can hear you.
Can you hear me? I would like to thank our union for what they had done for me and for us for fighting for the $9 an hour. But we need more. We need just a little bit more because that $9 is good, but it won't get me out of that hotel room. You know, I like to get into an apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment, where I can call my own, where I can use my own key at. Don't have to worry about somebody buzzing me in, buzzing me out. You know, it's if you ever try it, you would know what I mean. I think half of you already know what I mean. It's tight, it's hard, but I'm struggling, and I don't mind struggling, but I'm going to get there. But I think we also should ask the mayor and the people to build more housing for us, more low-cost housing, just not apartment where high people can live, but low-cost apartment. Before they build any other apartment, we should ask them to build more apartments for low-cost living people. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Roxanne Trey. I'm from POWER, People Organized to Win Employment Rights. And I also know what it feels like working out there. I was out on the streets too doing my GA workfare work. I also was out there cleaning up like everybody else. This city, like people said, is too beautiful. And these people that work, GA workfare workers and Cal workers, those people out there cleaning and keeping this street clean should have a living wage. They work too hard. The Cal Works mothers with children in homes, I am so glad that POWER and other organizations have gathered to get Cal Works because it's been a long time coming because I was on AFDC and there was nothing offered to us. All I had to do was sit at home, be miserable, take care of my kids, and that was it because they didn't give me a chance to go back to City College to get an education. And I had to fight and struggle and save to get my own education and go to City College and pinch pennies between diapers and going to school and having bus fare and food in the house. And this living wage is very important. I too also, like everybody else in this city, have to do more than one job. I do home care as well and work out through agencies who which didn't pay very much because by the time you get it, it was gone by the time the tax collectors got it. This living wage is very important and very serious. and people should really think about what's going on. Because if you don't, you will not have a city of your own. Your city will be gone. They're selling you out. Thank you.
My name is Yolanda Katzalp, and I'm also a member of Powers and also the Labour Party. And I would start a very positive note for San Francisco. I don't know how many people know about Proposition 187 that stood for against giving any more medical aid to undocumented workers. Did not pass in San Francisco, was defeated here. And I would like to add that with that note, there's now in this country so much wealth and so much potential because of the technology to build houses, to feed people, to feed poor and middle-class students in the schools whose parents make enough to live in a little better neighborhood, but not enough to give kids money for lunch. I went about 3 years ago to Gary between Post and Ellis or O'Farrell. An apartment, one building apartment, one room apartment cost $400. I could not pay for it because I was getting SSI. Since then, I've gone for friends of mine. In the last 3 years, that same apartment in the Tenderloin ghetto within the limits of the nice area is $1,300. This country has a potential, and it has the responsibility of the government in this country, the city here in San Francisco, which is luckily very progressive as far as the board of directors, supervisors with the exception of Ms. Brown and some other ones. But we have the potential here to make people aware that it is our right, because we're the ones that built this country. It is our right, it is our parents' right, and it is our children's right to have what everybody needs. And living wage is one step towards that goal. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Emma Harris. I'm a welfare worker with Power, and I'm proud to be a member. I think beside people who make a lot of more money than I do. And we do all the hard work, but we don't get, we get $5 something an hour, and it's not fair. So living wage would be good for us, all the welfare workers and the cow workers. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Wendy Frigilana, and I work for SEIU Local 1877. We represent the booth cleaners who work at the Moscone Center, which is a unit of about 60 people. And actually, I asked them to come down here and be with me today, but only a few could, because they hardly ever work 40 hours a week, and they make $8 an hour. So many of these people are family people with children, and who have to subsist on 2 jobs, if not 3. So this was one of the few days that they could work, so everybody's working. I just want to let you know that a city-connected facility like the Moscone Center, that has the car show, the computer show, doctor shows, it's a crime shame that we're paying our workers down there who work part-time $8 an hour with no benefits. I'm telling you on their behalf that all they're asking for is what really is dignity and respect. It's something that we need to do to educate the entire city. It's not frivolous money that we're talking about. It's an issue of dignity and respect that every worker should have. To be able to live and subsist in San Francisco on 1 job and not 3. Thank you.
My name is John Bergman, and I'm also with the Power Organization. I'm a hospital worker, and I know I work hard on my job. And as a matter of fact, many of us think we work at least as hard as the regular union workers. And we all want the privileges that go with it. We live in a democratic society, and it's about time we prove that it is a democratic society by permitting people to participate. And participate means we are permitted to work and to be union members and to have the privileges of union members. To enjoy a living wage, not to live in a ghetto, and not to be at the mercy of hotels burning down and the loss of all our property, because again, we're living in a democratic society, and we have property rights too. Thank you very much.
Hey, my name is Rebecca Vilcomerson, and I work at the Homeless Prenatal Program. And as part of my job, I have worked on the Living Wage Coalition for almost a year now, and I consider myself really lucky because I get to work on this campaign and I get paid for it, and I get paid a living wage. So I'm here to echo what Eric was saying, because I go to the Living Wage Coalition meetings and I see a lot of really spectacular people working really, really hard to get a living wage passed, but I don't see low-wage workers there leading the campaign, and that's what we need. We need to have everybody there deciding on how we're going to do this campaign and do it right. So there's going to be a meeting on October 28th at 7 p.m. and what we need is to have every single one of you there telling us what to do, basically, so that we can all decide together, and so you have everyone making this a reality. Thanks.
Hi everybody, my name is Diana, and I have a quick comment and a question also. I work for a nonprofit. How many people here work for nonprofits in San Francisco? Quite a few of us. I work for Westside Community Mental Health. And one would think that people in charge of nonprofits would be in support of a living wage, right? Often, for some strange reason, it's not the case. And what those managers often say is, we don't have the money to pay our workers a living wage. I know, I can only speak for Westside Community Mental Health. My agency has $3 million in its reserves. I want to spread that word because it needs to be said. They do have money to pay us a living wage, and I wouldn't be surprised if there were other nonprofits in the city that also had the money. And then a question I have is just to follow up on what Rebecca said, which I hope people can talk about in the workshops that we have. Those of us who want a living wage, who want to fight for it, are often working too hard and are too busy to have the time and the energy to do it. So my question is, how, in the face of having to have, 2 jobs and families to support and just too many responsibilities, how can we organize ourselves and find the time and the energy to do the fight that needs to be fought? So I hope it's a question that we can brainstorm and try and come up with an answer for in the workshop.
My name is Mike Walpole. I'm a member of Local 2 Restaurant and Hotel Workers Union. I'd like to speak on behalf of the Marriott workers. Anybody who's here probably knows about the Marriott Hotel, how they treat their workers like a piece of dirt that you scrape off the bottom of their shoes. And here, it's a corporation that's making billions upon billions of dollars, and we've been fighting for quite a while to get a union contract. That goes to show you how a corporation like Marriott can make all this money and not take care of their workers in the right way. Some of those workers, practically most of them have no health benefits, no pensions, no seniority rights, and a lot of those people have to go to San Francisco General because they can't afford a regular health plan. And something's wrong somewhere when you have these big hotel chains like that coming into San Francisco, and they won't recognize the union and see if their workers have decent wages. We need all you people to support the Marriott workers in their struggle for a union contract. Because Local 2 supports the living wage campaign also 100%. Okay.
I'm Denise Guiana, and I just retired from the Department of Human Services, where because of the wonderful work of GA clients, I was able to, in my department, save $400,000 for the program that I developed. For the past 8 years, I have been begging, practically on my hands and knees, to please hire these people who are providing all this services and money for this department. That $400,000 would not have been accrued to the department without the aid of GA workers. I don't want to see GA workers, I want to see workers who get paid decent wages. And I have been fighting vigorously for that. And I'd like to make a comment about this thing about begging these supervisors that we put in, or I don't know how the hell they got in there. It's totally progressive city that we keep on putting these same old assholes back in and over and over and over again. And last year we had a whole slew of progressive candidates, including myself, And we were totally ignored. It's incredible. And now we have another slew of progressive candidates that are running for mayor, and they're being totally ignored. And I think we really got to get politically involved and to quit, picking the lesser of two evils. There are people out there who we can trust and who have shown their mettle in their community groups and everywhere else. This man that just preceded me was on the Marriott picket line. I'm there all the time, and I have yet to see any supervisor or mayoral candidate or anybody on a picket line. I don't see any of them here either. That's where they should be. If you really wanted service to cities, you need to be here with the people and not out there, and then come to you once a year and say that I'm an active. It brings up a story. I'm a union manager, local 790. Years ago, it was local 400, and they used to have candidates come to our meetings once, whatever the voting time was. And this one candidate got up there and said, "Hi, I'm an active member of your local 400. And I jumped up, and I was really startled. I jumped up and screamed at him and said, "What do you mean an active member? I never seen you before." And he said, "Oh, what should I say? What should I say?" I said, "You can say you're a member. I'm an active member. You guys are active members. So don't be fooled by these people who come in once every 2 years and tell you how much you're going to do for you. These guys had their chance. Sweep them out, every single one of them. And you have an opportunity not only this November, but next November. And please, I ran this fucking campaign practically single-handedly. I got 35,000 votes. They must say something. Now what I want to see is you people out there supporting me. I want to see you walk like I walk every single time for every proposition, for picket lines. I'm on every goddamn picket line there is. I want to see you out there with me, and we're going to change the city. Okay? Thank you.
My name is Mark Morton. I'm a member of this coalition, a member of an organization called San Franciscans for Tax Justice, and also a bellman at a small hotel in San Francisco. Parenthetically, for those who've heard that the Local 2 hotel contract has been settled, be aware that there's a number of contracts at both some of the small hotels, at all of the small hotels, and some of the Class A hotels as well that have not yet been settled, and so there's a fight ahead there. But the point I really wanted to make when I got up here was about these big numbers that have been thrown around in the press in the last few days about how this living wage ordinance would cost $250 million. We've heard other big numbers before. We've heard 80 million, 30 million, 50 million, 187 million. And it's all presented to us like this is just a whole lot of money that we want to take away from somebody else. I will submit to you that they got it exactly backwards. That's our money that we earn. And it's our money that we should have. And the people who have it now have it incorrectly. We should have it, we work for it, we deserve a living wage. It's really that simple. And when you look at, for example, the Bay Guardian last week, or lots of other things that people have done in this city, and you talk to see how many millions and millions and millions of dollars that the corporations in this city take out of our pockets with their corporate welfare and the like, we know where the money is. All you gotta do is walk around Pacific Heights or St. Francis Woods or downtown or Seacliff, and you know where the money is that we should have that belongs in our pockets as we earn it. The last thing I just wanted to say very briefly is to emphasize what Steve Williams said, and then Steve here as well a little bit later, which is that we don't have to be polite about this. We don't have to be, pretty and ask all sorts of nice questions. In fact, that's the way we're going to lose. The way we're going to win is to be loud, unruly, obnoxious, and not give up until they give in. Thank you.
Two speakers, and then I want our panelists to address a few of the questions that have been raised.
Buenas tardes.
Good evening.
Mi nombre es Marta Duantes.
My name is Marta Duantes.
Soy miembro de la Unión 250.
I'm a member of Local 250.
Trabajo cuidando ancianos en casa home care.
I work as a home care worker taking care of the elderly.
Hace 3 años que empecé a trabajar ahí.
It's been about 3 years since I started working there.
Empecé a trabajar ganando $5.29 la hora.
I started earning $5.29 an hour.
Y gracias a Dios, a la Unión 250, empezamos a ganar después $7 la hora.
And thanks to Local 250, we started then earning $7 an hour.
Después, yo también he acompañado al señor Néstor Cuellar, a los de la Unión 250, fuimos a Sacramento.
Then after that, along with
Del gobernador a Sacramento.
we went with the governor to Sacramento.
También fuimos a City Hall, donde el alcalde,
We went to City Hall to visit the mayor,
Billy Brown,
Willie Brown,
y él se comprometió a pagar los $9 la hora.
and he made a commitment to us to pay us $9 an hour.
Y gracias a Dios que ha cumplido.
And thanks to God, he fulfilled his commitment.
Pero no nos alcanza.
But it still isn't enough.
Quiero decirles que yo estoy sola
I want to tell you all that I'm alone,
y tengo 2 trabajos.
and I have 2 jobs.
Llego bien cansada a mi casa en la noche
I arrive very tired to my house at night,
y me pongo a pensar
and I start to think
en las madres solteras.
in single mothers.
Me da mucha lástima
They give me much pity. I feel for them.
ver esas mujeres
To see those women
comprando ropa de la segunda,
buying secondhand clothes,
comprando juguetes tal vez ya viejos para sus hijos,
buying old toys for their children.
todas rendidas,
They're all exhausted,
lejos de sus familias en otros países.
far away from their families who are in different countries.
Me duele mi corazón,
My heart hurts.
es duro.
It's very hard.
Quiero decirles que la Unión 250 ha hecho mucho por nosotros.
I want to tell you that Local 250 has done very much for us.
Creo que cada unión ha trabajado por sus miembros.
I think that all unions have worked for their members,
Si nosotros dejamos solos a los líderes por delante,
and we have to continue forward.
no les ayudamos a ellos,
We have to help each other
no es justo.
because it's not fair.
Todos debemos de estar unidos como un solo hombre
We all have to be united as
para
a
poder ganar las batallas.
to win these battles,
Para cuando vienen los aumentos,
so that when they come along with the increases,
sí decir que hemos puesto un granito de arena.
we can say that we contributed our.
Quiero decirles que este día sábado yo lo dejo para descansar,
Today's Saturday. Usually I rest,
pero con todo gusto, si la unión me necesita, yo doy mi tiempo para poder hacer algo.
but I gladly, if the union helps me, I'm here to do
Y
something.
aunque no tengo chiquitos, no tengo niños,
Even though I do not have children,
pero sí, estos niños necesitan mucho.
but these children do need a lot.
Todos lo necesitamos.
We all need it.
Y gracias a Dios porque esperamos que el alcalde
And thank God, because we hope that the mayor
no nos conceda solamente esos $11 de hora.
will not give us only $11 an hour.
Anoche hablando con una muchacha en la iglesia,
Last night when I was talking to a young woman at the church,
ella dice que no tiene papeles.
she told me she didn't have any immigration papers.
Dice que se va a limpiar casas
She told me she cleans houses
con otro grupo de personas
with other groups of people
y está ganando 13 la hora.
and is earning $13 an hour.
Oh, dije yo,
Oh, I said,
nosotros estamos legales,
we're here legally
estamos ganando muy poquito.
and we're earning very little.
Pero esperamos en Dios y en los que nos gobiernan aquí, que los gobernadores y todos los que nos ayudan,
But we hope that the elected officials and those of us who help us out,
que nos den un sueldo justo,
that they give us a just wage.
¿verdad? Muchas gracias.
Thank you. We really do have to stop. I'm really sorry because obviously we could go on and we wish we could. But we want to continue this conversation as part of the workshops. So those of you who had
My understanding with regards to living wage, and I have to promise you that I am no expert on the proposed ordinance, is that if the workers, the temp workers, are working under city contract or working on city land, then yes, they're covered by the living wage ordinance. Of course, if you ask me, everyone should be covered by the living wage ordinance. But that's my understanding, which means that, yeah, it leaves a lot of temp workers possibly out of the $11 an hour that the proposed ordinance would guarantee. But if they're working for city contract or on city land, then yes, they should be covered.
The question was, if people want to fight this fight, but find themselves working 2 to 3 jobs, find themselves exhausted at the end of the day, how can we make sure that those people are included in this campaign?
All of us are extremely busy. I would imagine every low-wage worker in this auditorium today probably works at least 2 jobs. And one way you can one way that you can participate in the living wage struggle. I know you're all busy, but it's going to take even more of a sacrifice on your part. I myself am a union member. I'm also a shop steward. I have not had a weekend off in maybe 3 or 4 months because of different union actions, the living wage among them. It takes sacrifice. Okay. I have to rearrange my schedule. I work late. You absolutely have to find the time, one way or another. That's the best way I can tell you. That's the best thing I can say.
Okay, I just want to say briefly, I think a big help is to, some people that are here today who are following this, please, there's a table out there, write a few lines and get your picture, have a picture and put it in the paper. Because when they see us identify with us, it's just different. It'll make a better impact when you got a sheet in the newspaper and you see a picture and identify with us. Because it happened in the Vietnam War. To turn it around, all of a sudden, Life magazine just put pictures of the guys that died over there, and people identified with them. So go out there on that table out there, low income, and fill out a few lines and get your picture in there so that
the other thing, why it's important for low and no wage workers to take leadership within the coalition, even though it's a sacrifice, is that the coalition needs to change.
Sharp at 995 Market Street, which is at 6th on the 11th floor conference room. Okay, now we get to divide ourselves into smaller groups and continue the discussion that we started here as a bigger group. So don't leave you all. I'm going to tell you where you should go. We're going to do it by row. We counted that there are about 7 rows here in this auditorium. Those people in the first row
and who are you taping for?
Should go to room 107. Reno and myself will be the discussion leaders in room 107 for row number 1. Row number 2, please go to room 111, where Eric Marr and Connie Forbes will be waiting for you.
Oh, nice camera.
That's row number 2. Oh, room number 111.
Do you do any,
okay?
are you thinking of continuing taking good political footage and
this will be this
if you ever have some good stuff that you think should be aired?
El taller que va a ser en español va a ser en el cuarto número 201. The workshop in Spanish will be held in room 201 with Ana Maria and Oscar. Number 4, row number 4, room 202.
I gotta talk to the guy who's in charge. They're probably gonna end it down if they don't.
With Leon and Holly, that's room 202. Row number 5, you are in room 203 with Martina and Scott. Martina and
Yeah, Steve
back
just
will
gave me
be
his
room
footage
203.
that he started with, yes.
Road number
Because we're all gonna, it's all gonna be
You're
put
still
together, it's
here?
my understanding.
Is, you go to room 204.
Yeah, I think
and
they're
you
gonna
will
edit
be
it.
with Joyce and
If they're not gonna
Maria.
edit it, I'll probably want
Joyce
to
and
make a
Maria
point.
for row number 6.
If you want
And finally,
this
the last
on
row, if you sat
some
in
kind
the
of medium
last row,
Super VHS or...
please go to row 205 with Eileen and Steve.
Okay, so just audio?
Room
Okay,
205
I can get it to
with
you.
Eileen and
Give me
Steve.
some...
If anyone has any
some way
questions
to-
about where you should go for your workshop, please come up here and I will answer your